Welcome. My name is Teresa Schoen. I'm the Director of Primary Education and also the High Ability Coordinator for Lake Central Schools. The first grade high ability teachers and I normally host an informational meeting for parents of our first grade high ability students each year. But since large gatherings are not feasible this year, we've decided to record the information to share with you. I will be sharing an overview of our Lake Central Identification Plan and also the continuum of services available to our high ability students. I'm going to hand it over to the teachers at that point, and they will share information on the advanced curriculum and also some additional information about our high ability program. The state of Indiana requires that all school corporations identify high ability students in grades K through 12 and that they provide advanced curriculum to those identified students in the areas of math and language arts. The state also requires our identification plans to include a measure of ability, achievement, and a qualitative measure. Lake Central's identification plan uses COGAT for our ability measure, Iowa as the achievement measure, and SIGS as the qualitative measure. Lake Central students are tested and identified in grades K, 2, and 5. We identify in the areas of math and language arts only. Students can be identified in math only, language arts only, or in both. Once a child is identified, they do not need to test again to qualify for services in that area. If a child is identified in only one area, then at the next testing grade level, we will test them for the area in which they are not currently identified. Just to give you an example, if you have a first grader this year who was identified as high ability in math only, when we test again next year in second grade, we will test them in the area of language arts to see if they qualify. You should have received a letter recently that included a card that lists the areas in which your child is identified. We include this card to emphasize the area in which your child is identified, as the setup of some of our classrooms often confuses parents as to just what curriculum a child is receiving. If your child is identified in only one area, that is the only area for which they will receive the full high ability curriculum. Even though they may be in the class with students who are identified in one or both areas, their teacher will provide differentiated instruction to all students. So it may look as though they are participating in both high ability curriculum, but they are not. The teachers will explain and give you a few examples a little later in our presentation. Depending on the number of identified students in each grade level at each school will determine what type of classroom setup we have for the high ability students. The first option is a cluster grouped classroom, and that, as the name indicates, means that there is a cluster of high ability students who are in a classroom with students who are not identified as high ability. They may also be in a self-contained classroom, and that has only identified students. However, in that classroom, they will have students who are identified as math only, language arts only, or identified in both math and language arts. As I said earlier, once your child is identified as high ability, they do not have to qualify again for services. When they move to the middle school, they will participate in advanced classes in math and language arts. At the middle school, if your child is identified as high ability in math, they'll also take advanced science classes, and if they are identified as high ability in language arts, they will take advanced social studies. At the high school, identified students will have the opportunity to take advanced classes in math, English, and science, as well as advanced placement classes. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Witham, who will share more information about the Lake Central High Ability Services.
Hello, this is Brittany Witham, and I'm going to be talking about how our classroom is made up of all kinds of kinds. High ability isn't just a one-size-fits-all label. Students in a high-ability classroom may be vastly different in their abilities, and their work habits, their attitudes, and their emotional maturity, as well as their thinking process. And in our classroom, We make sure that your child will receive differentiated instruction to address their specific learning preferences, their talents, and their needs, as they are a valued part of our classroom. Our students will be provided with many different opportunities, like developing problem-solving skills, building creative thinking skills, developing research skills, strengthening their individual interests and their independent study skills. They will be promoting their inquiry and connected learning, and their life skills such as coping with challenges and taking risks will be taught.
Hi, this is Melody Wolf. I'm going to talk about classroom capers. Okay, your child will be engaged in alternative activities that go beyond the regular curriculum. It will look like that we're all doing the same thing. However, a lot of times it's differentiated learning in the classroom. Your child will participate in problem-based learning activities and projects through the year that will reinforce inquiry, tech skills, as well as speaking and listening. Your child will participate in tiered assignments, which have different expectations for different levels of learning. We use data and observations to inform our decisions in determining instructional levels. We also follow the scope and sequence of first grade, and we also do pre-testing before we do our assessments and lessons. Your child will always be thinking outside the box, and answers will always be in black and white. This is our enrichment curriculum that goes and supplements with the Gen Ed curriculum. First thing we have is your high ability state unit. It's called Signs and Symbols Connecting for Meaning. It's a literacy elements that connect to the real world. Bottom line, it's secret ciphers, books that go with it, and activities. The other one we do is the College of William and Mary ELA units. This is questions and activities support the unit of study in a picture book. It's to develop and analyze and interpret literature through structural questions and activities that highlight themes and concepts. The third one you have here is Jacob's Ladder, which uses picture books. Targeted reading skills are developed reading skills are developed through the inquiry process from the basis of understanding to critical analysis of a text.
Hi, my name is Mrs. Geis, and I'm going to talk to you about our math program. In our math program, we work on inquiry-based learning, where we focus on the process standards. So what we try to do is we get students to make sense of problems and persevere in solving them. We want them to reason abstractly and quantitatively. We have them construct viable arguments and critique the reasoning of others. Students will model with mathematics. We use appropriate tools strategically. We attend to precision. We have them look for and make use of structure, and we look for and express regularity and in repeated reasoning. We engage all students through inquiry-based learning. Our math activities and units promote differentiation in the classroom to allow for the success of all learners. We use investigations. We work on math workshops. We have Rec and Rec or Math Rec activities. We do a lot of number talks and number tasks in class. We have equal share and fair share problems, tile activities, 3-act tasks, and then we use units called Context for Learning Mathematics by Kathy Fosno, and we also have M2 units that are mentoring young mathematicians. Sample math questions that we use in the classroom, we have on-level questioning. For example, we ask students, what strategy did you use? Can you share your strategy with the class? Can you draw a picture or make a model to show that? How could you help another student without telling them the answer? And did you notice any patterns? Advanced questioning strategies that we use in the classroom are samples such as, can you convince the rest of us that your answer makes sense? Is there another possible answer? If so, please explain. How did you think about the problem? What do you think comes next? What is the same? What is different? And what is the relationship between blank and blank?
Hello, this is Sarah Hansen, and I'm going to talk to you about some things you can expect from your high ability classroom teachers. So, as a teacher, we will model flexibility when things don't go as planned. We will model higher order questioning to propel inquisitive students. We will model a joy of learning and inquiry. Model how to express feelings and opinions tactfully. Model problem solving and imaginative play to solve problems. Model how to learn independently and collaboratively. Model humility and grace. And model a quest for greatness, not perfection. What our program offers: open-ended responses, inquiry and discovery, active exploration, inductive and deductive reasoning, freedom of choice, group interactions and simulations, variety, multidiscipline, and finally, opportunities designed to meet their unique social and emotional needs.
Thank you for viewing our presentation. We hope it's been beneficial. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to your child's teacher or principal.